Greetings in the name of the Most High Jah Rastafari. This is again Jen, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. And if you want to get formal, use Miss Jennifer Frederick. Another edition of the We Talk the Thing Unfiltered. People, today is Friday. We start a little late, but that's all right because you know it is sometimes thing does happen. So we started right because we have plenty thing to talk and it ain't have no cover on my mouth. Oh God, oh God. All right, Monday, yes, Papa. Now we start this thing. And now for the pledge.
I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I will honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, and my elders, and those in authority. I will be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. I will strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country.
So people, we start, I like to start with some good news or something historical, something to make you smile. And today is no different. Let me just find it here. Again, because I am into dance in some ways, I always, when I see these things, it always fascinates me. So I hope you all enjoy it. It's very short.
Amen. 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 Let me tell you something, children. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I let it shine, let it shine to show my love. I wanna tell you that everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. And everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. I let it shine, let it shine to show my.
So people, I hope you enjoy that. And a little history now. It's how Stokely Carmichael, well, Kwame Ture, we know him as Stokely Carmichael, one of the pioneers in the Pan-African movement. how he got his name. And he was married to Miriam Makeba, great African singer.
This is Stokely Carmichael, a man who was born in Trinidad, grew up in the United States, and later on came to live in Guinea for many years. For those who may not know, Stokely Carmichael is arguably one of the greatest Pan-Africanist revolutionaries in history. Now here's a very interesting fact about him that you may not be aware of. At a point in his life, Stokely Carmichael changed his name to Kwame Ture. A Pan-Africanist choosing to be called Kwame Ture? Now who could he have possibly chosen to name himself after? Well, go on and take a guess. Well, if you guessed Kwame Nkrumah and Sekou Toure, then you guessed right. But what made Stokely Carmichael decide to name himself after the two leaders, whom he referred to as his political fathers? So the story goes that Stokely Carmichael was in Conakry, Guinea during Osagyefo stay there, and Osagyefo offered him the opportunity to serve as his political secretary, an opportunity that Stokely gladly accepted. So according to Stokely, he was one day having a discussion with Presidents Nkrumah and Sekou Toure, and there was a difference in analysis between the co-presidents. So Sekou Toure asked him for his views, and he said that he supported the position of Kwame Nkrumah. In response to this, Sekou Toure said to him, "Well, no surprise. You are always taking the old man's side. I don't see why you don't just simply go on and take his name too." The old man here being Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah. So they refer to him as the old man in Guinea, as a mark of the very high regard that they had for him. In response to Sekou Toure's suggestion, Stokely said, "You know I'd be honored to do that, sir. I will ask the owner of that great name." But rather than only taking the name of Kwame Nkrumah, Stokely noted how everybody in Conakry knew he had two political fathers, so it was going to be improper for him to take the name of only one of them. And this is how Stokely Carmichael came to be known as Kwame Ture, a name he kept until he died in 1998, and a name many who know what his contributions were will agree he lived up to.
So that's a little bit of history there. And listen to this. Some of you may not have known.
For Hindus, Krishna is black.
Krishna is black. It means black one, right?
Black. That literally means Krishna means black.
It means save me, black.
The black one.
Yo, save me, the black one. So Hare Krishna means save me, black. Yo, black. Save me, black. Yo, black. Save me.
Oh, black man. Like,
oh my God.
Krishna is like literally.
Yo, we get it from the source right here. Vishnu has said it. The Hare Krishna means save me, black man.
Oh, black one. Oh, black one. Like,
black one. Oh, hell no.
Yeah, think about it in context. So what we just have happened here with some people of Indian descent. You hear that Krishna was black. Hare Krishna said, according to the man, means save me, black one. I think it right here. And listen to some of this history also.
Did you know the U.S. Virgin Islands were home to Arawaks, Caribs, and Siboney? St. Croix had sacred Arawak temples and fierce Carib resistance when Columbus landed in 1493. St. John still preserves Taino petroglyphs, silent witnesses to pre-colonial Caribbean life. St. Thomas became Denmark's key slavery port in 1672, fueling sugar and trade empires. Water Island hosted pirates, Taino camps, and rare free black landowners in the 1700s. St. John's 1733 revolt and St. Croix's 1848 uprising changed the course of Caribbean freedom. The U.S. bought the Danish West Indies in 1917, Water Island joined in 1944. The USVI flag, adopted in 1921, shows an eagle with arrows, olive branch, and U.S. shield. It symbolizes the territory's connection to the United States, peace, and the three major islands. Gold, blue, and white reflect Caribbean vibrancy and Denmark's legacy woven into U.S. identity. Poll. Which island story should we dive deeper into next? Croix, John, Thomas, or Water Island? Like, follow, and share. If every Caribbean flag carries more than color, it carries memory.
There's some information, historical information coming out of St. Croix. This is something I'm going to show you that they do show you of Venezuela. This is present-day Venezuela. We would have looked to make sure that it is not any fake or anything like that, and it is current. So this person seems to be going to Venezuela a lot and bringing the sights and the fauna and the food and everything. So I hope you watch this and say to yourself, what else are they not telling us? So listen.
Meeting Nicolas Maduro was not on my 2025 bucket list. And if you told me it was going to happen today, I would have said you were lying. Generally, I'm a neutrals girly, but today, something in my head was telling me I needed to wear red. You guys should know by now that I don't miss any opportunity to come to Caracas. This is one of my favorite cities. As we pull up to the National Assembly, they had a little serenade going and a red carpet welcome. And try as I might, I just couldn't look away from the ceiling. There were so many intricate details to get lost in. Trust me, you need to see it in person. This video doesn't do it any justice. This was a meeting for parliamentarians from the Caribbean and Latin America to discuss the importance of maintaining the Caribbean as a zone of peace. Now, meeting Maduro was a total surprise. As the meeting wrapped, we were directed to transfer to these buses because we were going to have a special surprise. And I was really down for whatever because this time I had on comfortable shoes. And guys, I don't know how to explain it, but when I saw that we were pulling to Mira Flores, I knew that somehow this surprise involved Maduro. I'm not gonna lie, I was excited but nervous and scared at the same time. I think this was the first of one of his new initiatives, Coffee with the President. It really felt like we were having coffee with a friend. I wish that he was so down to earth, witty and charming. Guys, it's times like these I wish my Spanish were better because I had so much I wanted to say to him.
Yeah. So that's another side of Venezuela that they don't show us. Well, one again, they don't show about plenty things, and they put they put something negative out there, and that becomes the story. So let me give you something that would make you laugh, I hope, at the same time.
But I have a theory. I think every time you drop your child, they just lose some IQ points. You know what I mean? Mom, in the white dress, what you do? You do HR? You get dropped 17 times. It wasn't your mom though. Trust me, trust me. Every human being that start off as an astronaut who could paint the Mona Lisa. You get dropped, doctor. You get dropped again, engineer. Can you imagine how much times the Minister of Homeland Security gets...
Ting! Hopefully you understand it. Listen to one of our another young local comedian, I think it's two of them.
As we now engage, when the raps and the beacon starts, please don't rush the stage, 'cause I am not no Chris Rock. I will stop you too. We could end up on Ian Allen. It's really up to you. So can I tell my jokes tonight? And you stay where you are. Please don't look at my legs and get tired. I could bite real hard. You carry me some jokes tonight. 'Cause for your way too straight. And it's because half of all you getting warm. So laugh a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kes Ramsey. Get your money's worth. Laugh tonight, you have time to moan. Tomorrow on your word. When the fun is over, please don't block the doors. Weeds won't stop, but put you out, just like water.
Remove yourself from the stage, guys. Get off the stage. This is not your show. This is my show. This is therapy. Your show is Christians Can Laugh. 2nd of November. Sapa. This is my show right now. Queen's Hall. Not your show. Take away yourself. Reverse flavors. Take away yourself, please. Please go. Thank you.
Sometimes we just need something to laugh at because there's so much things they could cry and get angry about. And the young people are doing it their way, the young comedians. This is some exciting times in terms of entertainment and how they do, how entertainment is going to be produced and packaged now first. So I laugh, I found it to be funny. And this will put you in the mood for Carnival 2026, those who just play mass. So let me play it here. Launch your Carnival.
Drop it right here.
Okay, people, I just a little taste of the launch of Carnival 2026. And where would Carnival be without our traditional character and the steel pan? That's how it's done. Let's see what we're gonna see. Anyway, I want to talk about it. I was sour the whole thing. Let me leave it with the visual or the steel pan and the traditional mask. So let me continues. Well, I'm going up to New York now. New York City have a new mayor and he's Muslim. Watchman, and he not easy. He's a migrant, not ashamed to say he is. His parents, and he has taken New York by storm. He's young, I think he's about 32, if I'm not mistaken. Times are changing, you know. See, sort of old people. Yes, we need the elders, of course, because I'm an elder myself. However, we need to also mix the two, the young and the elder for the wisdom and the guidance, and the young to bring the new innovative ideas. So listen to him. He sent a message to the president of United States of America. Listen.
So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up. We will hold bad landlords to account because the Donald Trumps of our city have grown far too comfortable taking advantage of their tenants. We will put an end to the culture of corruption that has allowed billionaires like Trump to evade taxation and exploit tax breaks. We will stand alongside unions and expand labor protections because we know, just as Donald Trump does, that when working people have ironclad rights, the bosses who seek to extort them become very small indeed. New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
Yes, Papa, you and people. You know, Trini always in everything. We like salt. The man know Trinis and all. Listen to this.
I speak of Yemeni bodega owners and Mexican abuelas, Senegalese taxi drivers and Uzbek nurses, Trinidadian line cooks and Ethiopian aunties. Yes, aunties.
Yeah, Papa. We up there. We there in New York. The man mentioned we. And you know his food and things he sell. You know we out there, right? So just a little about him. His name is Zoran Mandani. And they said I'm reading from ABC. Historic news. New York City's mayor race victory has sparked excitement and hope amongst many American Muslims. Zoran Mamdani historic election was as New York City's first Muslim mayor has sparked excitement and hope amongst American Muslims. Many are relieved and proud that anti-Muslim vitriol directed at Mandani during the campaign didn't discourage New Yorkers from voting for him. For the first time in a very long time, I feel hope as a Muslim, as a Democrat, and as an American, as an immigrant said, Pokwawa was Kwazi, who literally jumped for joy and called for her father to celebrate. She said she attended Mam Dani's victory speech and was reassured by the diversity of New Yorkers around her despite any challenges that may be ahead. Growing up, Wasquaz, a Pakistani American physician, never thought she would see a Muslim become a mayor of New York City. She said she gravitated towards Mamdani's message to the working class and found his affordability vision to have wide resonance. Mamdani won the vast majority of Muslim voters. About 9 in 10 Muslim voters supported him, according to AP voter poll. They make up a very small group of voters in the city. About 4% of New York City voters were Muslim. Mamdani, a democratic socialist who cast his win as the boom of blue-collar workers struggling to get by, has campaigned on an agenda that includes free buses, free childcare, and a rent freeze for rent-stabilized apartments. So that is some good news coming out of New York City there to this Muslim mayor. So we'll see how that goes. I'm seeing also that India has chipped in and sent aid for Jamaica. Let us not forget Jamaica, people. Let us not forget our brothers and sisters in Jamaica in our prayer, because they are going through some challenging times coming out of Melissa, the hurricane that devastated a large part of Jamaica, also Cuba. So let's listen to this.
This is to share with you that we have C-17 Indian aircraft, Indian Air Force plane, which has landed in Kingston today. It is carrying 20-ton weight of material, relief material, humanitarian aid and disaster relief material for Jamaica. The material is for immediate relief like shelter, sleeping bags, tents, mattresses, pillows. It is also carrying ECG machines, that is for measurement of medical trauma. It is also carrying 1,000 kilogram heavy unit of mobile medical trauma unit, which is comprising of 72 boxes. Each box is carrying medical equipment, which is very high tech. This can be mobilized and taken to the affected area immediately through either road, through air, helicopters, or even through boats. It's like a very big hospital compacted into 72 boxes. It has got, for example, intensive care and even surgery-related equipment and medicines and kits, which can help treat people and also supply them medicines and other things. In addition to that, a team of 4 medical experts have also arrived in Jamaica with this flight. They will be training the medical team, paramedics and doctors of Jamaica how to handle this special medical trauma unit.
Remember, Melissa would have devastated hospitals in Jamaica. So we are happy that countries come in and give support. That's what we know in the Caribbean, a zone of peace, unity, love. We work out our differences through diplomacy and mediation, conflict resolution, not through no war. We don't want no war here. We are about peace. So this was in the Jamaica Gleaner, and the United Kingdom also would have chipped in. So United Kingdom government has deployed its Royal Navy to support disaster relief efforts in Jamaica. The HMS Trent sailed to Falmouth, Trelawney, I hope that's how I pronounce it, on Tuesday, with specialist personnel and equipment with the aim of providing communities with support. Why is America not sending the ships down here in this part of the world to help Jamaica and Cuba in humanitarian efforts in because of what they're going through with the devastation of Melissa, the hurricane. Why didn't use it for that instead? Why they using it to come down on this side to strong arm and to try to bully, in a sense, in my opinion, another sovereign country because you ain't like who ruling the country and then this look oh yeah this drunk racist prime minister open up we whole country for all kind of thing. We not on no war thing. The Caribbean is a zone of peace. Anyway, let me continue. You know, the Prime Minister of Grenada have a big decision to make because I think America asked him to use Grenada to put the military assets, and the people in Grenada have been marching peacefully against that because they have the whole history with Maurice Bishop, God rest his soul, and what would have happened there. So they have direct memory of that invasion. So listen to Declan Mitchell, Prime Minister of Grenada. I think his first name is Declan or Decon, but I'm raising Mitchell, Prime Minister Mitchell.
Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell provided a long-awaited update in Parliament on Tuesday regarding the U.S. government's request to install radar equipment at the Maurice Bishop International Airport against the backdrop of rising tensions between the United States and Venezuela. In recent weeks, political activists and members of the public, including the Grenada Coalition for a Zone of Peace, have staged a peaceful protest urging the government to reject the proposal. Prime Minister Mitchell previously stated that the matter requires careful consideration and cannot be answered with a simple yes or no. While he did not present a definitive position during Tuesday's sitting, the Prime Minister emphasized that the Maurice Bishop International Airport is not designed to accommodate any form of military installation.
We first appreciate that the Maurice Bishop International site, by its very history, is one that is historic, of significance to the public, and one that evokes a lot of emotive reactions. That's one. And therefore, clearly, we appreciate that the public will want to opine on this matter. Second, and perhaps more fundamentally important, the Maurice Bishop International Airport is a civilian airport, and therefore it is not equipped to treat with military-type operations. Third, any installing of the radar would obviously disrupt the operations of the Maurice Bishop International Airport, and we would need technical advice as to whether or not it was feasible or advisable to do so.
He says an initial feasibility assessment was conducted by the U.S. Southern Command, led by Admiral Alvin Halsey, but no conclusion has been reached.
The U.S. request included first an opportunity for Southern Command to assess the site. They have done so, and after having done so, they would have indicated that there were two sites that they were interested in. In light of the ongoing discussions that we've held with them on the technical issues, they have come back and indicated that they are interested perhaps in one site. They have also indicated, Mr. Speaker, that they wish to have a response by a particular time. We have not been able to provide that response for the simple reason that I've said, just from a technical point of view, we are not in a position to satisfy ourselves as to the safety and other technical requirements as to whether or not such equipment properly ought to be at the airport.
Mitchell also reminded Parliament that Grenada does not maintain a military force, and therefore the installation of military equipment may not be appropriate. He reaffirmed that Grenada will not engage in any decision or activity that breaches domestic, regional, or international laws.
Grenada has no military, and therefore our cooperation with the U.S. has always been in the context of law enforcement, and in the context of our own domestic law, and in the context of international law. And therefore, we would have inquired as to the legal basis or framework upon which, given that this is a military request, that the request was being made, and we entered into discussions on those issues, which are not separate. So, when we indicated that we're considering, I'm simply providing a bit more context and more detail, that is precisely what we have been doing. It's important to point out, and I think this is important for me to go on the record, to say that as Prime Minister of the country and the government we would not enter into any agreement which from a Grenada perspective has any possibility of violating Grenadian domestic law or violating international law.
Admiral Jose, who oversaw the U.S. assessment, recently announced his retirement effective December 12, 2025, amid heightened military operations in the region and growing tensions surrounding Venezuela. For the MTV Evening News, Wendy Edmond.
And thank you, Prime Minister Mitchell, for thinking about your country and listening to what the citizens of your country would have said. Stand up for something, sir, or you will fall for anything. It have plenty of them in Trinidad and Tobago. They're standing up for nothing. Some of them, okay. No, listen to this blast from the past. So they don't worry, I'm coming home just now. I'm coming to Trinidad just now. You know, I just go all over the world first.
Ayer estuvo el diablo aquí. En este mismo lugar huele a azufre todavía esta mesa donde me ha tocado hablar. Ayer, señoras, señores, desde esta misma tribuna, el señor presidente de los Estados Unidos, a quien yo llamo el diablo, vino aquí hablando como dueño del mundo. ¿Qué modelo de democracia es ese el que se impone a punta de marines, de invasiones, de agresiones y de bombas? A donde quiera que él mira ve extremistas. Yo estoy seguro que te ve a ti, hermano, con ese color y cree que eres un extremista. Con este color, Evo Morales, que vino ayer, el digno presidente de la Bolivia, es un extremista. No, no es que somos extremistas. Lo que pasa es que el mundo está despertando y por todos lados insurgimos los pueblos. El señor presidente vino a hablarle, así lo dijo, hoy quiero hablarles directamente a las poblaciones del Oriente Medio. Mi país desea la paz. Esto es cierto. Si nosotros nos vamos por las calles del Bronx, si nosotros nos vamos por las calles de Nueva York, de Washington, de San Diego, de California, de cualquier ciudad, de San Antonio, de San Francisco, y le preguntamos a la gente en las calles, a los ciudadanos estadounidenses, este país quiere la paz. La diferencia está en que el gobierno de este país, de Estados Unidos, no quiere la paz. Quiere imponernos su modelo de explotación y de saqueo y su hegemonía a punta de guerras. Quiere la paz. ¿Y qué está pasando en Irak? ¿Y qué ha pasado en el Líbano y en Palestina? ¿Y qué ha pasado en 100 años, pues? En América Latina y en el mundo. Y ahora las amenazas contra Venezuela, nuevas amenazas contra Venezuela, nuevas amenazas contra Irán. ¿Qué le dirían esos pueblos a él? Si esos pueblos pudieran hablar, ¿qué le dirían? Yo se los voy a recoger porque conozco la mayor parte del alma de esos pueblos, los pueblos del sur, los pueblos atropellados. Dirían, Imperio Yankee, go home. Ese sería el grito que brotaría por todas partes si los pueblos del mundo pudieran hablarle a una sola voz al imperio de los Estados Unidos.
I hope you all were able to read the English translation because it says it all. I ain't going to add, I ain't going to take away. But under President Bush of America, he was talking about the behavior, which seems when you look in context, it is much different than what we see happening now. And he said, we want peace. And he spoke about if the people of the world were to talk to America, basically, they would say, imperialists, go home. But if you all haven't read it properly, when you all play over my life, those who choose to, when that part reached, you need to read what Hugo Chavez, God rest his soul, is saying. I want you all also to listen to this because these things are important, you know. You go come to Ali Bacchanal and Leila just now, these things are important. I need you all to listen to this, please.
Of the United Fruit Company. He knew what happened in Chile in 1973 when Salvador Allende was murdered, Pinochet installed because Chilean socialism endangered American corporate interests. He knew the stories of Nicaragua and El Salvador, of the School of the Americas where Washington trained the death squads that terrorized Central America for generations. He knew about the Monroe Doctrine, that 19th century declaration that Latin America was. The cracks in Washington's imperial facade are showing, and Venezuela has become the fracture line nobody in power wanted you to see. For decades, the playbook was simple: sanctions, regime change operations, demonization in the media, and eventually a compliant government that opened its resources to American corporations. But something fundamental has shifted. Venezuela isn't collapsing on command. Despite the longest and most brutal economic siege in modern history, sanctions that have devastated its economy more severely than strategic bombing campaigns, the nation remains standing, defiant, and increasingly connected to a new axis of global power that doesn't answer to Washington. This isn't just about one country's resistance, it's about the unraveling of a 70-year system where American dictate determined which governments lived and which died. What we're witnessing are the birth pangs of a multipolar world, a world where military might and financial coercion no longer guarantee obedience. Nations are finding alternative pathways through Chinese investment, Russian cooperation, and regional solidarity. The panic in Washington isn't hysteria. It's the cold realization that the empire's most reliable tools are breaking in its hands, and Venezuela's survival is the proof that terrifies them most. Let's step back for a moment and look at what no one in Washington wants to acknowledge. Venezuela was never supposed to survive this long. The architects of American foreign policy, the strategists in think tanks funded by defense contractors and energy conglomerates, had drawn up the timeline years ago. Maximum pressure, they called it. Starve the economy, freeze the assets, cut off the banking system, prohibit the sale of oil, make it impossible for medicines to reach hospitals, for food to reach markets, for spare parts to reach factories. The calculation was cold and precise. 6 months, maybe a year at most, and the government would fall. Maduro would be gone. The military would fracture. Washington's chosen legitimate leader would walk into Miraflores Palace holding the keys to the nation's oil reserves. That was the plan. That was always the plan. But years later, Venezuela is still there, battered, wounded, struggling under the weight of economic warfare that would have toppled almost any other nation on earth, but still standing, still sovereign, still refusing to hand over the keys to its future. Now, I want you to understand something crucial about how empires operate, because this isn't really about Venezuela at all. It's about the precedent. It's about what happens when a small country, a relatively weak country, by conventional military standards, looks at the most powerful empire in human history and says, no, that single word is the one thing empires cannot tolerate. Rome couldn't tolerate it. The British Empire couldn't tolerate it. And the American empire certainly cannot tolerate it. When you control the global financial system, when your currency is the reserve currency of the world, when your military has 800 bases scattered across every continent, when your intelligence agencies have overthrown more governments than most people can count, the idea that a country like Venezuela could simply refuse your demands becomes an existential threat to the entire architecture of power. It's not really about oil, though the oil matters. It's not about ideology, though they'll tell you it's about democracy and human rights. It's about obedience, about maintaining the system in which Washington decides which governments are legitimate and which are not, where American economic interests outweigh national sovereignty, and where the so-called rules-based international order means rules that America writes and everyone else follows. Venezuela understood this from the beginning. Hugo Chavez understood it. Whatever one thinks of Chavez, his governance, his policies, or his authoritarian tendencies, he grasped the fundamental truth of Latin America's relationship with the United States. He had studied history. He knew what happened in Guatemala in 1954, when the CIA overthrew a democratically elected government because it dared to enact land reforms that threatened the profit of America's backyard, its private sphere of influence, its territory to manage as it saw fit, and he decided that Venezuela would not be managed. It would chart its own course. He used the nation's oil wealth not to enrich foreign corporations or a domestic elite, but to fund social programs, literacy campaigns, healthcare initiatives, and housing projects.
Yeah, that was Professor John Joseph Lord Father. Let me spell this all. Yes, I'm his grandfather, and me he godmother nothing. Learsheimia. Me no rise me Shemia, huh? Yeah. Professor John. He's an American political scientist and international relations scholar. He is the R. Wendell Harrison Distinguished Service Professor at the University of Chicago. So he's somebody with some cloud talking, not an everyday Joe, as it is called. So let me continue. Order. Pick sense out of nonsense, you know. Pick sense out of nonsense. So let me go to Tobago now. So the drunk racist prime minister of this country is Kamala Prasad Visesar. I call her drunk because everybody says she's drunk. Me here, she said, no, she's not a drunk. And for racists, it have enough evidence, in my opinion, to show that she's racist. So I say, drunk, racist Prime Minister Mrs. Kamala Prasad Visesar. Somebody says she named Shushila too, so it probably is Kamala Shushila Prasad Visesar. Went to Tobago. Notwithstanding the fact that I think when she was Prime Minister 2010 to 15, she never went. But she went to Tobago. And people could see it as political gimmickry. Because the THA election is, I think, is next year, is it? And Fali Chavez, ungrateful dog, Fali, that is my opinion, bent over backward. He was contorting like a gymnast. All the bumps he did spread to accommodate the Prime Minister. He looked like Cyril's biggest child. He looked like a house Negro that has been bought and sold for scraps. And so he performed for him modern day massa. So she get him or get the THA a license for study park to do mining, not mining now, is it thing? To dig out gravel and thing now. And he feel they get the world. So everybody talking. So this here is economist Dr. Vanas James. It's Elizabeth Gonzalez story. It was in The Guardian yesterday, and it says, economist Dr. Vanas James said the newly reapproved license for the Sudley Park Quarry will not make a real difference to the Tobago's economy unless the island start producing value-added products. Prime Minister Kamala Prasad Visesar announced the approval during her official visit to Trinidad or to Tobago on Monday. She described this as one of several gifts to help the Tobago House of Assembly earn its own revenue and reduce its dependence on central government. Dr. James told Guardian Media the license is not new and has done little to change the island's economic situation in the past. Will you hear that? It's not the first time the teacher get a license for doing quarrying, that he would quarrying at Study Park. Dr. James says so, I say after what he say, hear what he say. But Dr. James told Guardian Media the license is not new and has done little to change the island's economic situation in the past, meaning they used to get license in the past. We have been trying to make something of the site deposits for a long time. since 1997. It has not made much difference to the Tobago economy, and I doubt it will now, he said. Dr. James explained that simply exporting the raw material will not generate jobs or foreign exchange. He said Tobago needs to develop industries that use the quarry materials to produce goods with higher value. Until we start producing derivative products that lead to industry activity on the islands, it will not make a difference, he said. He added that the quarry issue is a side matter compared to Tobago's real challenge, which is building a more diversified and productive economy. The Prime Minister announced the license along with other measures, including plans for greater fiscal autonomy and a localized police unit during her one-day visit on the island. Boy, and did some sing. The only thing I see is Tobago people don't be fool. I know the whole of Tobago behaving like Fali Chavez Augustine. I always found you to be politically more in tune than Trinidad. Although let me down. Okay. So let me continue. So this is where Fali, ungrateful, mingy dog, showing up himself. You know, the dog with the ball. Now, in my opinion, I give it. Listen to Fali.
I can display and show a copy of the export license for the Stolly Park Quarry, Stolly Park Enterprise Limited. Application made since 2022. And one will think, as we say in Tobago, that if you have a brother in the mango tree, you will eat. But sometimes you have to just depend on a stranger to give the kind gesture that your own will not give to you. On behalf of the people of Tobago, thank you very much.
So that is Fali, ungrateful, mingy dog talking. And people like Fali are giving an opinion. It's self-hate them have. There's a lot of self-hate, so let us look at another ethnic group as the Lord and Savior. And they will criticize and curse people from their own ethnic group. And that is what he's doing. It is said that Mr. Orville London, who was his chief secretary of THA, gave Fali a scholarship to go and study language. That's how we come back and was some side assistant teacher or some kind of thing. So ungrateful dog. You watching a license for study park over 3 fast ferry that making money for Tobago. That bringing money in Tobago economy because for Tobago Carnival is Trinidadians make that. Trinidadians who come down to Tobago and spend money and buy their costume, all that is making money. And the fast ferry was able to bring them. The 3 fast ferries was able to come up with the cow kind of thing. Dr. Rowley give Tobago that bring money. A spanking new international airport where millions of people could be passing through when the air coming to visit and all that. That bringing money to Tobago. When Dr. Rowley and them bring sandals to Tobago, or they run sandals, that is to bring money. But you get a license for study park. The economist saying that can help Tobago. You happy and proud about that. I want to cuss Dr. Rowley. Why move your dirty self, your dirty, fresh, unwashed self. Let me continue. So Dr. Rowley would have said, and I've given my opinion based on your behavior, it's stink and dirty. All I say is man will stand for nothing and could get brush easy. So this was in the Guardian yesterday, and it says, Rowley denies betraying Tobago over study park quarry license. Former Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has dismissed Chief Secretary Fali Chavez Augustine, or Fali Augustine, suggestion that he betrayed Tobago by refusing to grant the Tobago House of Assembly the THA an export license for the study park quarry. Dr. Rowley said the decision was based on supply consideration rather than politics. Moments after being bestowed with a license by Prime Minister Kamla Persad Bissessar, Augustine said the application was made by the teacher since 2022. He then added, one would think as we say in Tobago, that if you have a brother in the mango tree, you will eat. But sometimes you have to just depend on a stranger to give the kind gesture that your own will not give you. Scraps! Scraps your house, Negro. Scraps you get in. Scraps. You ain't even no real worth when you get real worth. All this, Massa said, we say, Massa, you going to sell us today? Look now, boy. Dr. Rowley, to be going by birth, took issue with that statement. He told Garden Media that the entire process of the Prime Minister giving the license during a special sitting as of the Assembly was a puppy show. Calling on what was said blatant misinformation and misrepresentation, Dr. Rowley said, this is only the most recent act of blatant dishonesty and misrepresentation by two people, one a Prime Minister and another a Chief Secretary, who ought not to be trusted with public records. Who not with the public records. Dr. Rowley said Study Park Enterprises Limited, SPEL, could not keep up with local demand, and therefore it would not have made sense to allow SPEL to export its aggregate and armor rock. They failed miserably in the assignment, but are now playing politics about being denied an export license to export what we need, so that we will have to find foreign exchange to import the same product. Export of selected grades of crushed rock only makes sense after we produce a level to satisfy local demand, Dr. Rowley posited. He added, the Prime Minister has no interest in this type of analysis and sensible decision making. All this extreme populist disappointment is concerned with is adulation and politics, always at the expense of the national community. Former Works and Transport Minister Ron Sinanat expressed similar sentiments. Unfortunately, the demand coming out of Study Park was never able to satisfy full quota that we needed in Trinidad. There was always a shortage. We had a shortage in Trinidad and we had a shortage in Tobago. Although the rocks were available in Tobago, the amount they were producing was not sufficient, Sinanat explained. So that is why the export license was not there, because the demand was so large, so great here in Trinidad for the Study Park material. And you have to remember this, the government basically subsidized that. And if you allow it to export, and then you have to go now and import at a higher price, that doesn't make any sense. But Trevor James, he had us call hubris syndrome big head sufferer, like my opinion. But Trevor James, Secretary of Infrastructure, Quarries and Urban Development, is rejecting that explanation. Yeah, because what is a qualification? He's a geologist, he's a von economist, he's an economist. Where's the qualification? James told Gardner Media that the PNM administration had stopped making requests from Spell Fabricate. Well, if they ain't getting the amount they want, what asking for it for? And here you have to rent truck and all kind of thing. And all they had them kind of thing. So how are they going to look now? Give me a look how they make me start to stutter. Like they keep me from cussing. In the last 2 years, we have had no requests at all for the purchase of material from the Ministry of Works. I think that explains to you that the demand from Trinidad was zero or close to zero, certainly from the state agency, James said. And apparently he didn't understand what was explained. If only can keep up the demand for Trinidad, and we still have to go and buy on the outside market, where's the sense? That's something like a petrol train. That's something like a petrol train. Most of the crude oil for the petrol train had to be bought with foreign exchange on the outside market. 140 something 1,000 barrels because the local producers here only producing about 50,000 barrels of crude oil. So Petrotrin needed about 190,000 barrels every day. So think about it. Petrotrin are paying. It had big industry, oil industries, refineries all over the world. Their payout with salaries, remuneration, all that is 34 to 30 something percent. Trinidad and Tobago, Petrotrin about 50 something percent. So you're paying all that in salaries and perks and this and that, and still have to get US now to buy 140 something barrels, 140 something thousand barrels of crude oil every day, I think it is, for Petrotrin to refine with the 50,000 barrels here. How they can make money? Look now. As a matter of fact, if you look through Trinidad, there has been little or no roadworks required to the use of our andesite in Trinidad for the last 2 or 3 years. The only project we have built in Trinidad is the Diego Martin flyover. We have done no roadwork for 2 or 3 years, and you could check it yourself. Furthermore, James said the PNM administration had no right to decide what Tobago can or cannot export. They are not saving the country any forex. And there ought not to be a situation where a ministry in Trinidad is denying Tobago the opportunity to export aggregate in the ground in Tobago. He's not the man who went to some meeting and then he was having some storm or something, whatever, and hire a whole charter plane to come back to Tobago. Them getting too big for the shoes, yes, and they didn't have the experience, they didn't have the ability, and they don't have the qualification. That is my opinion. And here what? Mary didn't know more. Mary didn't know more because you are qualified to talk to me about them things. Let me hear Dr. Rowley and people who qualify in that area. You won't have it. So, Kelvin Morris, the minority leader, would have had his say about Kamla Prasad Bissasa's visit. So listen to this.
So Tobagonians, I want all to listen to this. Because while we were being told by the Chief Secretary that the Prime Minister was coming with this grand announcement about autonomy, this is actually what the Prime Minister had to tell us in Tobago at the legislature today. Listen for yourself.
They offered it when? Years ago. They said that they want to give Tobago more money, and they brought a bill, which the one we rejected, of course. Let's be real. You do not need a bill in Parliament to give Tobago more money. And we proved it. We proved it. Did you see bring a bill, whether 20, whichever, which we had to improve your allocation? No. No.
So there you have it. The Prime Minister is trying to give the impression as though 5% is more than 6.8%. You call that mathematical gymnastics. Because she's boasting about giving Tobago 5% when she rejected a bill that guaranteed Tobago 6.8%. But what is even more devious and deceptive, and what Tobagonians need to pay attention to, is the fact that while we were hoping to hear some kind of pronouncement and announcement about the way forward for Tobago's autonomy, she's basically saying autonomy for Tobago isn't a priority. And once you get 5% in her book, that is enough. And therefore, Tobagonians, you have been warned. The UNC is deceitful, they are deceptive, and you need to pay close attention. The UNC is the curse.
They really could never manage the economy properly. Look what happened under Mr. Pandey, but at least under Mr. Pandey, you had ministers of parliament who had some kind of something about them. This crew, and under Mr. Pandey, there was mismanagement. They were voted out. All the CEO, all the whole thing play out. UNC again coming in 2010-15. Same damn thing, even worse with Kamla Prasad Bisasa. Corruption, nepotism, everyday confusion, bacchanal, whatever. And after 10 years, the society in Trinidad play stupid, like they head shaking and vote them back in, and they come back worse than it was in 1015. Look, only listen to this, especially Tobago. Listen to some history because like all they don't know, because if all they did know, all they'd never vote for Farley and Watson Solomon Juke. Listen to this.
The PNM was there for 4 terms. Remember that. PNM in Trinidad and PNM in Tobago. We didn't 4 terms, and now they're condemning a 3-term assembly.
Firstly, let me say, right, that the PNM in 21 years did not get anywhere close to 60 or 70 billion dollars. So let's put that on the record. Now, I'm not going to repeat the fact that over 21 years, Tobago was transformed by the PNM. That's a fact. But the PNM never had a 21-year term. The PNM got elected in 2001 for the first time. And then in 2005, we had to write an examination because the people of Tobago had to correct the paper. And in 2005, they found that the sums were correct. So they say, okay, you pass the test. So he won the election again. From 2005 to 2009, that was another term. So again, we had to go back to the people of Tobago to give account, not from 2001, but for that period of 2005 to 2009, and the people of Tobago had the opportunity to weigh their options, and they said to the PNM, we like how you're going. Take another term. That was 2009. Then we came again in 2013, examination time again. And the people of Tobago said to us that you all are doing so well. Take 12 seats. Then we came again in 2017, fresh exam, not the same paper, different issues, coming up against the PDP this time. And I remember the same colours passed me in tongue, giving me fatigue during the election. He said, what? He said 16 years and same $60 billion. He come here tonight, same the 60 billion again. He says 16 years and $60 billion. How Dennis by? Well, you're telling people in Tobago now. So we won that election 10-2. And then by the time we got to 2021, the people of Tobago said, okay, you didn't pass the examination on this occasion. So time for change. And we respect that. That's how democracy is. The people choose, the people get to decide. And they decided in 2021 that they didn't want any more of the PNM. In 2025, and I want to make this abundantly clear, the election in by now it will be in 2026, will not be about 2001 or 2005 or 2009 or 2013 or 2017 or even 2021. That election will be about the period 2021 to 2026, February or whenever is the election. And the people of Tobago must then determine whether or not these individuals in office now by virtue of their performance, by virtue of their responses on the examination paper, whether or not they pass the test. And I have a feeling that they will fail miserably. I know they're going to say, well, PNM get 21 years, so give us 21 years too. The PNM had 21 good years. And you can't come now after 4 bad years to say that you want the same 21 years. It doesn't work like that. If they wanted 21 years, then they should have started us with 4 good years. So, start with 4 good years and we're going to see what's going to happen after that. I deal with that already. Right? So, this election, and Tobagonians must be clear that this election is about judging the performance of the current assembly over the last 4 years.
Yeah, so that is Anson Dennis, their former senator, and the head of the PNM and Tobago, breaking it down for you. I don't know what Tobagonians will want again, but it's up to them. So let me continue now. So I see, you know, the two with the TPP member of parliament from Tobago. Listen to them like, look, you know, I can't say Beavis and Butthead because them had some character. So them just they colorless character. Them just they to Farley choose them well. So let's watch this now. In Tobago, what just video they say how the security push. I don't know which one of them they put. If it's what's the name, boy? I can't remember the name. The 2 TPP MPs for one Tobago, West and Tobago, East River. One of them in the picture here, they say like Kamala, security push you out each other. What do you think I already decide for yourself? That is not funny, eh? You can remind me when they pushed the little boy. You remember the little Calypsonian boy when they went up to meet Prime Minister Moody in the airport, and the Indian woman, pushed the little boy, the African child, in the back. Oh, remember that? That reminds me of that. They can't get close to the Indian and them, you know, that is my opinion. Again, when I talk in my talk, me don't talk about all Indian, eh? I know what I'm talking about. So don't get offended. Anytime I get offended as an Indian person, like what I'm saying is because you're thinking like Kamala. That's all I have to say. So Kamala Basarbi Sessa went in Tobago, and some little child they use that as opportunities, a special needs child. Hug she up and that all over. Oh, she's a mother. Oh my God. Auntie Kamala, because she loved each one. One picture. And then she went signal, hey, long, whatever. And then people started to talk. They never see that with PNM and Dr. Rowley in Tobago. Well, let me show you. Let me tell you something. These people wicked bad, you know. Watch this. That Dr. Rowley there. That is a school in Tobago. Watch. That not Dr. Rowley the children. Look, again, this one is in Trinidad. They're up in the pool. One of them pulling sweating up song. Something up this one. Watch. That book signing. That what tell you we countries are multicultural, multi-ethnic, cosmopolitan. We just live as one. There's only that drunk woman want to war in this place, boy. That is signing how he book. Mason from something to Mason Hall to Whitehall. That not true, watch. Well, remember the Spetia? When he bent on and tied the little boy shoes? Come now, man. One little child hug she up and all. Oh my God. Watch. It a boy no watch. Dina children, Dina school children. Look now, little give me a damn chance. Yeah, what do you think now, man? Yeah. One picture come up as a business, I picture the doctor on it and more. That is what I just pulled on. Watch. Dina children, that is in Tobago. Dina school children. Yeah, look. Dina school children, that is Tobago too. Look. Look now, let's stop playing up and audio. Hey, watch. Look how much pictures I showed you, Dr. William school children. Look. Okay. All right, so that will quell the foolishness. You get a picture with the little child, okay. What am I making as if, oh my God, first time that the Prime Minister went to the Tobago and look at the little child. Look, they got a damn sad. I just a show all they had nothing. Or they had to fight to get things to talk about and to make come up as the festa look good. Anyways, let me continues. So I'm seeing that the breakfast shed, or remember the bacchanal with that the breakfast shed, people, the PNM would have developed that space down there and thing for them. It's called La Femme Chat, something. We need to talk French, right? It's a French word for it. They get closed down. And because they couldn't pay lights and whatever, and people was up in uproar because that is like a staple that was for entrepreneurs, it is where people African descent mainly, yes, had a food stall, and that is a staple demand from the wharf and people around that area, people from Waterfront, Tower D and Tower C, where could I walk right there and buy the lunch and all them things, right? So it was closed down. I think I see it reopened. And this was yesterday in The Guardian. And it said the breakfast shed in Port of Spain, also known as the Femmes de Chalet. Papa, I hope I pronounce it right. You know me and my pronunciation, and I do business. This is we talk the thing. We're talking green verbs and all. Has reopened following an intervention by former government minister and financial consultant. I will not call that name. That is a bacchanalist man. So the man who wrote several letters to various institutions on behalf of the tenants. The breakfast shed tenants had closed their doors on October the 30th in a dispute over 1.8 million in unpaid rent and other issues, claiming they were forced out of the facility. The one who will remain nameless was outside PNM Day with Mr. Jennifer Betty's premise, and they get on a particular way and all that man. He's an in my opinion, hubris syndrome sufferer. However, if the woman and them don't need breakfast shed, get some reprieve because of the intervention, so be it. So the man had accused the T&Tech Electricity Commission, T&Tech, of misclassifying the facility as a medium industrial customer D2 instead of a small industrial class D1, resulting in monthly bills of around 13,000 to 14,000, when he claims they should have been closer to 3,000 to 5,000. The Regulated Industries Commission, RIC, is now reviewing the situation. Management said several tenants had failed to pay T&Tech bills and rent for the use of the facility, and some have since stopped operating. Currently, only 1/3 of the space is rented, and efforts are underway to attract new tenants. T&Tech has also requested that the facility be rewired. However, because the property is owned by UDCOT, the matter must be handled by the company. Management is also calling for the replacement of the tarpaulin blinds, which have been placed since 2006. Guardian Media reached out to UDCOT for comments but did not receive a response. I wouldn't be surprised if they won't do nothing, because you see the city of Port of Spain, they're starving it of funds because in their mind it's a PNM corporation, so it's African people, because they're saying all PNM people is African people. So them UDCOT might want to do nothing for this woman and them, but we will see. We will see. So bar owners, are complaining because this cannot be price of alcohol. Not only alcohol, I think malt and all them things to go up. So things going up. So here are the bar owners.
Some bar owners say the 100% increase in alcohol excise duties has hit the industry hard, with sales plummeting and customers cutting back on certain areas. At Club 2011 in Debe, owner Ashmir Mohammed says business has dropped as much as 50%.
I will say it very, very bluntly. They're saying they will go back to looking for cheaper rum and bush rum.
Patrons are spending less.
Who used to buy a nip, now they come and buying one small shot, and they're taking that with a beer and going about their business. We used to sell a beer here for $10. Now we're selling at $13. A punching shot for $18, now we're selling that for $28.
With sales down sharply, Mohammed says he's weighing how to keep his business afloat by possibly diversifying. Atlee's restaurant and bar in San Fernando faces the same challenge.
It's disastrous. You can see, if you look around the restaurant, there's nobody here.
She says the situation is frightening.
They're not buying. They're not coming. I am looking at this weekend here to see what is happening. I have to face it because there's no way I could sustain this and nobody's coming in.
Atlee adds rising costs, higher electricity bills and other taxes are squeezing small businesses beyond their limit. President of the Barkeepers and Owners Association, Satish Monasar, says the impact varies by location.
Yes, there will be an impact in certain areas where you would see certain bars have to close. As I would say, it's based on the location. The more village bars, like in the more rural areas and stuff, would have a greater effect.
Many of the bar owners we spoke to shared similar concerns, saying the hefty increase came too quickly and should have been implemented gradually. Sasha Wilson, CNC3 News.
You so easy the Indian man talk. Well, yeah, bars will close down, especially them small bar and them. Easy. So, if was PNM in office, he never talk quietly and easy. So, that was saying again, are they just supporting because Kamala is Indian and UNC is Indian? Because they classify UNC as an Indian party? Is it just because it's the Indian? I just asking, because look how quietly thinking, he is studying them small bar and them as people who depend on the sales and things from the little band thing to pay the bills and buy the food and all that. He told me, yes, if it's just by the way, a kind of by the way kind of thing. Well, let me tell you something. I've been around a lot of alcoholics. Beer rum is going to sell. They might even raise the price on beer rum just now. Beer rum is going to sell. And you're going to have some people try to act the fool and try to drink 100% alcohol and all kind of trippiness. Beer rum go sell. Bush rum go sell. Bush rum go come back big. Somebody go get poison from bush. Wait to go see. Because it's alcoholic out there, them want the rum to drink, You hear how much them thing going up to them can't afford that some of them. Them going to find out that is a fact. Me encouraging nothing. I just given all of the facts. Them just drink beer rum. Some of them, I know somebody went and drink 100% alcohol and nearly get blind. Yeah? All kind of thing. Because it's alcoholic. So, it is good that people are saying, well, people ain't going to be drinking. Now, let me tell you something. These people and them would be drinking to not have to think about the issues and the problems and all them kind of thing. They have to face it right, what they're going to man do. So all they could be creating more domestic violence in a strange way, yeah. More abuse. And more people harming themselves, all kind of damn thing because you take away the clutch. Just like how you fire 10,500 CPF workers and URP workers and all that. Just so. These things have effects, You remember that people drinking for years. Okay. All they continue creating problems. You know, when some Indian people can't get the rums to drink. Don't feel as only African people that drink rum, you know. Indian people love a rum, you know. Hey. So TNT is entering the valley of debt, DEBT. This was in the Guardian yesterday, and it says, in this space, in the Business Guardian publication, October the 16th, this journalist wrote a commentary headline, is government planning to borrow 19 billion in 2026? That commentary originated because when I went looking for the draft estimates of revenue 2026 on the night of October the 13th, which was the same day that the Minister of Finance, Vinjana Tanku, delivered the fiscal package for the current financial year, it was not available on the website of the Ministry of Finance. Perhaps by instinct, when the document was found on October the 14th, there was an immediate need to find out how much the government intended to borrow in fiscal 2026, or the financial year 2026. It turned out that the amount of money the government intends to borrow in the current financial year is $18.965 billion. Let me read it again. $18.965 billion this government intends to borrow 2026. As the table on this page indicates, the proposed 2026 borrowing is not only the largest in the period 2022 to 26, it is a 17.4% more than the second largest borrowing amount, which is the revised estimate of 16.149 billion in 2024 financial year. As outlined in the October 16 commentary, the government proposes to commit TNT to domestic borrowing of $8.111 billion and foreign borrowing of $10.853 billion. Oh God, only billion and billion and billion you're hearing, boy. Where are getting them billions from? Take care then colonize Trinidad. Take care we are here that we see colony of some country, you know. Hey! Woo! So that $10.85 billion is US 1.607 billion. Look, let me read over this thing. As outlined in October 16 commentary, the government proposes to commit TNT to domestic borrowing of 8.111 billion and foreign borrowing of 10.853 billion, US 1.607 billion dollars. My head hot in me. Foreign borrowing is 35.1% more than the next highest borrowing number in 2024. What is very curious is that Mr. Tanku did not address the issue of TNT borrowing 18.965 billion in his 2026 budget speech. Subject to correction, I do not think he addressed the issue in the Standing Finance Committee either. And sadly, only opposition MP Brian Manning mentioned the issue briefly in his contribution at the 2026 budget debate. But the issue of the 18.965 billion proposed borrowing in the 2026 financial year is so important that it must be addressed by the government sooner rather than later. If not, there are other institutions such as the International Monetary Fund and rating agencies that are going to address it for TNT. And when they do, it is unlikely to be pleasant. So the questions remain. One, why does the government propose to borrow 18.965 billion in the current 2026 financial year? Two, what does it propose to borrow that huge sum of money for? Three, what would borrowing 18.965 billion in the current financial year do to TNT debt service ratio? Four, what impacts would borrowing of $18.965 billion actually have on the country's fiscal deficit position, and even more importantly, on the aggregate demand for foreign exchange in TNT? My initial thinking outlined in the October 16 commentary was the first and most obvious supposition is that much of the 18.965 billion the government proposes to borrow in the current financial year would go to fund the 10% wage increase to employees in the public service. This is a promise Tanku said will be delivered. In furtherance to the conclusion of negotiation of civil service, statutory authorities and Tobago House of Assembly for the period 2014-16 and 2017-19, the Honorable Prime Minister has instructed me to advise the Chief Personnel Officer, CPO, to submit a revised offer of 10%. He said, I will thank you, sir. No, this is, but Mr. Tanku added, I wish to advise the members of the Teaching Service, the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, and Port of Spain and San Fernando Corporation that this government will ratify the collective agreement signed on April 2025 between the Chief Personnel Officer and the respective association union committees. The recurrent cost of implementing these agreements is estimated at $214 million annually, with a raise of $730 million as of December 25. One of the early readers of that piece stated, there is no allocation for the public servant 10% because government accounts are produced and reported on a cash basis and not on accrual basis. Even if they use accrual accounting because the negotiation has strategically just begun, it is difficult to know where the amount will end up. In fact, if the negotiations are prolonged, it may not be paid this fiscal year at all. What is in this year's numbers? What is in this year's numbers are those wage agreements which have been finalized and the Salary Reviews Commission adjustment from earlier this calendar year. Oh God, I'm tired reading this. This set of money thing just now. In the budget draft estimate of expenditure, the current administration projects it would just spend $9.403 billion in debt servicing. Of that amount, $7.675 billion is allocated to charges on accounts of the public debt and $1.78 billion as allocated to the Ministry of Finance. Look, I stop reading. We're going to IMF. We're going to the IMF. We're going to get a downgrade. Moody and all them go downgrade. We're going to the IMF. I ain't reading no more. My head hurting me. And I'm going to tell public officers something again. We do not have any wage proposal for the period 17-19. The only thing we have is 14-16. Let Felicia, Sasha, stupid. My opinion. Let Felicia, Thomas, come and say Jennifer Frederick lie that they have a wage proposal for the period 17-19. And I don't have no problem in apologizing. But as far as I know, we only have wage proposal for the period 14-16. So this 17-19, we ain't getting no 10% starting negotiation. It will have to be 5% because it's two negotiation period they're talking about at 10%. So if 3 and 3 is 6, then 5 and 5 is 10. So that is 2. 5% for 14, 15, 16, and 5% for 17, 18, 19. We are getting no 10% public officers, no matter how they spin it, dice it, and spin it well. Even if they put money in the budget and we ain't getting money for no 17, 18, 19 because we have no wage proposal before the CPO for no period 17, 18, 19. Only for 14, 15, 16. You know how long it does take to do up a wage proposal? You think you go finish today and with that dumb girl who is the president of PSA? Look now, let me move on, Papa. Let me play this from Rambles.
Yesterday, someone messaged me like, hey, your news source page got taken down. I wonder if it's the same thing I did to you that they're doing to her. So I was like, well, I don't know. I don't really follow her like that, but I'll go and check it out. But you know, when you look at something, when you look for something, when you search for something, the algorithm keeps showing you. So today, I opened my feed and I'm seeing that she's back. But the post I saw was this one, talking about an Indian recruitment agency in India recruiting for workers in Trinidad. So I'm like, this can't be real. It can't be this blatant. Let me go and look for myself. That's what I do. I go look for myself. And lo and behold, there is a company based in India, even though they have offices in other countries, that is a recruitment agency. And when you go to the job listings and you scroll down, tons and tons of job vacancies in Trinidad and Tobago. This one here, rigger, $445 per month. Yes, they're getting paid in US. This other one here, concrete pump car, $718 per month. Excavator operator, $718 per month. And it continues, warehouse worker, $418 per month. Yes, they're even recruiting warehouse workers. And here's my thing. When the previous administration hired this guy from Barbados and brought him here to head WASA. The talk on the ground from that side was that so we have no locals who could run WASA. Why you have to bring in talent from outside the country? That we talk at the point in time. Eventually they got into office and they got their way. They replaced him with somebody else. So here's the question. With the unemployment rate in Trinidad and Tobago being what it is currently, you are telling me that we don't have to even import warehouse workers? We have to bring in them and then we have to pay them in US? When I can't even get US currency in my own country? Where just last month, CIBC sent me an email saying no more US for you. And when I go on the chat to ask what taking place just so my car can decline, I'm being told, unfortunately, this mandate would have been applied by the government of Trinidad. This is CIBC's help here, you know. This is not Photoshop. This is CIBC's help from the app, the official CIBC app. I can get in the US, can't even renew an F1 TV subscription to watch Lewis Hamilton race. But you're telling me you're going to bring in workers on a working warehouse or something and pay them in US? They're not even trying to hide it anymore. Somebody once asked me, a social media content creator asked, like, why did you reject the yellow wave? Why you didn't just take the money and, come and make some money, bro? Why you didn't? I say, bro, we go way back, but here going on. I cannot actively support anybody who don't like me or my kind. I can't do it. You can't pay me to watch my people struggle. You can't pay me to watch my people suffer, which is exactly what we have been seeing happening for the past 7 months. And by the time many of you are able to figure out the maze of movements that have been taking place, you would have already been redundant. In fact, many of you have already been made redundant. You just don't know it yet. I'm just here watching on. And my official stance is, if this policy is always in place, stop it. Because clearly, you all do have US to be giving out like that. Especially when we down here crying for US. And if it's a new policy, then it's blatant and in our faces. All I will say on this matter going forward is, you gotta keep all your eyes open and watch the plays that are playing out before your very eyes. Because they're not even hiding the plays anymore. The plays are open and blatant.
Institutional racism. Like they wanted to come like South Africa. You remember they say that deceased Mahatma Gandhi, when he was out in South Africa, he wanted the Indians to separate from the African, and he wanted the African to be lower down, calling them, I think, kafir or some kind of racist. And they started, in modern time, they started pulling all the statue on them in universities in Africa. Like this thing steep in them, but I don't know if it come from the inhumane caste system where they were Dalits, and to the bottom of they wasn't even included in the 4 Varnas. I don't know if it's our stick in the psyche where they behave so as they get a little bit of power, they want to be abusive with it, like never see clumsy, that they never thought. But you hear Lord Krishna black, and the man say, Hare Krishna mean, oh, black won't help us or something. So is it that is the problem? Is it that is the problem? I just asking from a religious point of view. Is it that they know the value of this? And the African, and some African people, they know the value. I just asking that question. So let me continue. You remember Dr. Munila, yes, we going a little later, I'm playing everything because I want to cut up nothing for you not to see, because this is important. All you need to have the information of it. So when they say I talk my certain thing, all they're going to know I talking it from it. Then Dr. Ruda Munila, the new Minister of Energy, who I said clearly outside, illegal. He knows nothing about energy. I'm making himself a fool, in my opinion. I personally feel that Kamala Pasabi says that he did to embarrass him, to keep in the corner, to put his balls between his legs, pull it back so that in front you see that so. It has nothing there in front. That's just me. I just think so. I don't know. So you remember he did say that nutrient ain't going away and when my member of Parliament Minister MP Stuart Young for Policy North St. West, Stuart Richard Young SC, he had come out and said that nutrient is going. And he explained why. I put it my way. They get a shakedown. It is alleged from MGC chairman. Like a real hustler thing, boy. That was saying, what is going on? Anyway, he did say, Dr. Munila said that Stuart Young talking up in it my way, stupidness. It's any truth. Well, listen to this now. November the 6th, 2025, CNC News. Nutrient confirms no output from Trinidad for the rest of 2025. Nutrient Limited has confirmed that its 2025 nitrogen sale forecast assumes no additional sale volume from our Trinidad operation for the remainder of 2025. The disclosure was launched in the Canadian fertilizers giant third quarter earnings report released yesterday, which also marked the first official filing of the reference of October 23rd controlled shutdown of its Trinidad nitrogen facility. The company said a controlled shutdown completed on October 23rd, 2025, followed a prolonged period in which gas constraints have reduced the plant's free cash flow contribution. Nutrien added that it continues to engage with stakeholders in and is assessing options to enhance the long-term financial performance of its Trinidad operation. Guardian Media understand that there has been no further communication between the government and Nutrien since a meeting on October 30th between company representative and Energy Minister Dr. Rudan Munilan. You see why I tell all you? He don't know what to tell them. That must that's what she like he's an alien because he don't know, he not talking their language. He don't know not no negotiation. They think he's a security. They don't know nothing. You could imagine Joel Ramdin going to sit down with these people to negotiate and talk anything. No, let me be real, yes. Let me be real. And this company didn't make that decision from the local company here, you know. They make it from the subsidiary, from the big company. So imagine that this nutrient may not open back up because I understand when you close down these plant and things, so when you start back up, it ain't just start back, so it had to check to make sure everything in order, wherever you have to spend money to make sure things back in order, then you have to like start from, in my opinion, that's why I think I start back from fresh, so it's a loss anyway. And they could simply go, yeah, what's going on? Let me take up and go somewhere else now. We could go somewhere else and open up. Leave Trinidad right there. So speaking to Guardian Media outside Parliament on October 31st, Mullah said there has been no new headway in discussion, noting that Nutrien was taking steps on a temporary shutdown. Nutrien cited uncertainty over the port access and unreliable gas supply as the main reason for the closure. The company continues to contest claims that it owes several $1 million in retroactive port fees, a dispute that has stalled progress on negotiation. You see what I'm saying? A man going into NGC, and in my opinion, based on trying to get retroactive money from Nutrien, when that port down there wasn't built, that area which part of us had them company and them, where they could, when they finish the product and thing, they load it right there because it have a port. That wasn't to make no, that thing they built in the park, I think it's an industrial park or something, so Point Lisas, I think it is whatever. That wasn't built to make money in the sense to sustain, you know, like a big part of the government finances, all that. The real thing come from them company and them coming here, using that facility and making the products using our stuff here, hiring people here and that kind of thing. That's where the money come from. But it have a shade down papa for retroactive money. Look now. Hey, the energy minister said the government has already made arrangements to manage the impact of nutrient closure, particularly regarding carbon dioxide, CO2 supply. Proman has since stepped in to supply CO2 to Massey Gas to help stabilize the market. Nutrien has also expressed interest in exploring other lines of business locally, including potential collaboration with the agriculture sector through discussions. Though discussion remain at an early stage. I'm gonna tell you, me I feel that nobody has no skill in that UNC government day to do nothing. Them like it's a bunch of hustlers, in my opinion. So a man is saying, Venny is leaving and employees grieving, Papa, because you know they take away 3,000 and something. All of any number come up to 500, now give me a 500 or no. You know, see people saying, give me a 500, I say it today. Only give me a 500 now, I have 470 now. Give me a 500 now. Let the weekend be, give me a 500. Sell it up, so I want to see 80, 480, come on. Bring it up. Give Sister Jenny a blind now, give me a 500. Yes, I beg today, give me a 500. So, in the Guardian, Venny's leaving, employers grieving. That was yesterday. Let me see how long this article is because me ain't going through all that. No. I just read a little piece. Me ain't reading all this. The migrant labor situation currently unfolding in TNT bears striking similarities to the crisis in the United States. In both countries, sudden reductions in migrant labor have triggered economic strain, particularly in sectors that rely heavily on low-wage manual workers. In TNT, the government decision to slash work permit for Venezuelan nationals by over 80% from 4,275 in 2024 to just 757 in 2025 has sent concerns through industries dependent on foreign labor. The effects are already being felt across agriculture, hospitality, and retail, where the availability of Venezuelan workers has declined. On the ground, the impact is tangible. One farmer in central Trinidad who has cultivated sweet potatoes and cassava for over 2 decades, now faces the grim prospect of lack of workers. Mr. Just hire Indian workers, hire local workers, we can hire local workers. And they say Indians are the farmers because we don't just play pan and do thing nothing. Hire Indian workers. I just asked them a question, I say, I don't know. Last year I had a team of 6 Venezuelan workers. This year I have 1. He lamented, adding, my children don't want to farm and locals aren't lining up for this kind of work. I'm shocked. His children don't want to farm? Oh my God. Isn't this unusual? Yes, 488 coming up. Isn't this unusual? His children, Indian children don't want to farm. And locals don't want to work. The retail sector is also facing problems. A small supermarket in Digomatin reported a drastic reduction in migrant staff. We used to have a full team Venezuelan workers who were dependable and fast. We now have 6 from about 20 workers. Most left to go back home because they said the situation is too unstable in Trinidad. With deportation orders looming, they don't want that kind of future to have here. Across the Atlantic, the United States is facing a similar labor shortage, albeit driven by different forces. Well, okay, and you know the normal thing, and you talk, but we talk about Trinidad. We sending them home. Hey, people bawling, ain't get no workers. So let's listen to this one. This is the junior minister of housing who don't see. I just call it cutters because I'll tell him. When he get the ass cut in the general election by my member of parliament and member of parliament for and candidate for Polispin North, Centre, and West, Stuart Richard Young, I will be calling him cutters, and he did get a cutters. Stuart Richard Young win by over 4,000 something votes. And the only reason why Philip Alexander get them kind of vote is because he put up, he going up as a UNC. If he'd just put simply PDP, he would have get what he get last time, less than, must be 200 or whatever. But he did get a 4,000 something cutters. So Philip Cutters Alexander, listen to him.
A criminal. Gary said the UNC was involved in trying to use gang members to disrupt the operation of the country. He said that less than 3 years ago and was paying them $42 million with contracts just to get themselves into office. Gary saying that and forgiving Kamala now means that Gary, because that was never investigated, she was never cleared, she was never prosecuted, which means that Gary conveniently lied on Kamala then, or he is lying now. And you cannot put that in office. You cannot put people like that in office. So a little birdie told me today, now I don't know how true it is, but a little birdie told me that the deal that Jack struck, and I'll tell you why Jack had all the cards.
And they're saying that the PNM linked with criminal and all kind of thing. Look, he's saying all them things that before he get ropey in the ministry, HCC before UNC did win this election here, 2025. You always say about UNC linked with criminal, not me say, Papa. You hear it? It was in Dr. Darius Figaro book, page 80 something. You hear he says so, and this one says so, and that one says so. Let me continue. So I remember Steve Ferguson, the other one would have died, Ishgal Bransing, who have been dodging extradition. Although people don't make jail for that already, that comes to the biggest corruption scandal ever under the UNC, of course, in the airport. Miss Jovian was right there. They say she cried tears, I don't know how true, and sniff and snap on what she knows, I don't know how true, when she appeared before the commissioner inquiry, when she was talking about how much thief and was going on and whatever. UNC, she writes in the UNC now. So Steve Ferguson loses in court again. This was in the Guardian. Businessman Steve Ferguson has suffered yet another defeat in his bid to overturn a judgment of over US $150 million against him, former Finance Minister Brian Quaitong, and a United States businessman over alleged corruption related to the construction of the Piarco International Airport. In a decision delivered yesterday, let me look at the date in this. This was the 6th of the 11th on 2025. In a decision delivered yesterday, appellate judges Thomas Logg, Monica Gordo, and Fleur Lobry of the 3rd District Court of Appeal of the state of Florida refused a motion from Ferguson to have his appeal, which they dismissed in September, reheard in Bank or Blah or something so. ENBANC. Under the U.S. court procedure, unsuccessful applicants can apply to have their appeal reconsidered by all 10 judges from the appeal court after it is dismissed by a 3-member panel. While the 3 judges denied Ferguson's motion, they still withdrew their previous ruling in the appeal and substituted more detailed reasons. The outcome means that Ferguson and his co-defendants will have to mount a final appeal before the U.S. Supreme Court in order to overturn the outcome of the case in that country. In a 21-page ruling, the judges focused on Ferguson complaints over the jurisdiction of the Florida court to hear and determine the civil asset recovery case. They noted that while the case deals with the construction of an airport outside their jurisdiction, Ferguson, Quaitong, and U.S. businessman Raul Gutierrez allegedly committed acts of fraud in Florida. Stating that Florida was a world destination of finance, business, and construction, the judges said, in interpreting Florida's resumption against extraterritoriality, Papa, I ain't saying it over again, the sovereign state of Florida has clear interest in preventing, punishing, and providing a remedy for those damaged in part in Florida and in part abroad, as occurred here by this type of criminal enterprise, UNC again, because Steve Ferguson and Gish, them is UNC people. Criminal enterprise operating out of Florida. They reiterated some of the alleged criminal conduct in the case linked to Florida. He went ahead to outline some of the evidence related to such. Ferguson hatched the conspiracy in Miami and executed parts of the conspiracy in Miami, where he met with conspirators to ensure selection of the project consultant, concealed transfer through an agreement he fabricated, reviewed documents relating to conspirators, illicit payments, and transferred of over $1 million to Miami, accounts held by Gutierrez, they said, by the judges saying that. I'm reading just one more paragraph, Papa. The U.S. lawsuit against Ferguson, Quaitong, and Gutierrez relates to the alleged fraud and inflation of 2 construction contracts and a maintenance contract for the airport. In May 2023, Miami-Dade Circuit Court Judge Roberto Diaz entered final judgment against the trio. US I call not the numbers, I mean, but I call 131,31840.47 after a jury before him upheld a civil asset recovery case over criminal conduct linked to the airport project. And the final judgment obtained in the Miami case was based on the US 32,385,988 in compensation ordered by the jury, which has been tripled as the racketeering charges were filed under US Racketeering Influence and Corruption Organization Act RICO. Hey, listen now, Gutierrez has to pay back money, Gutierrez pay back money. So if it's he-ish and this we're saying Quaitong and some girl and whatever, and was with Gutierrez, and Gutierrez was found guilty and had to pay back money. It's not rocket science. So I wonder if you could see U.S. Marshal coming to take him and extradite him because some of the matters happen up in Miami. Don't play with the U.S. money. Let me see what happened with that now. Again, UNC, criminal enterprise. Not me say so. I did not say so. That is what I read in. So let me continue this thing quickly because we intend to sit on here whole night now, Papa. Listen to this. Quick. But it's Friday, you know, we gotta get something nice.
What is that? They're going to put an end to his presidency if they drag him into Venezuela. That place is a terrible, terrible mess for us. Venezuela has 1,700 miles of coastline, 1,370-mile border with Colombia, 1,380-mile border with Brazil. And I'm being told by people with experience down there that you've got 100,000 paramilitaries along their border in Brazil and Colombia that are just can't wait to go into Venezuela and fight us if we go into that country. It's the last thing that we need. What we need is stability and peace. I would urge the president to reconsider his rejection of this proposal from Maduro and get out of this business of regime change, particularly when you know that somebody like Machado is playing to the wrong audience. Well, what a joke. Why are we trying to install this woman? It makes no sense.
Comment down below and don't hold back.
Yeah, everybody talking. Peace. This woman and all did sign thing with peace. A proud moment for TNT. PM Kamla Prasad Bisesa signed Zone of Peace Declaration in 2014. Look at here, see? Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisesa signs the proclamation of Latin America and Caribbean creating peace zone and nuclear disarmament during the 11th CL, the Qatar Summit of Heads of State and Government in Havana, Cuba. You go tell me about this woman? This woman, that's why they call her, she devil all kind of thing. This woman signed a proclamation of Latin American Caribbean creating peace zone and nuclear disarmament during the 11th CEL, I ain't seen that part, you know, Summit of Heads of State and Government in Havana, Cuba. This woman went Cuba and signed things for peace and against nuclear disarmament and all them back and all. And today, that same dirty woman, that in my opinion, that dirtiness, that is dirtiness, looking for war and talk about the Caribbean has never was something, it's not a zone of peace. That woman is a wicked, dangerous woman, boy. That's my opinion. And I'm saying that based on what I see in here. All I think is right. Look now. Right. Let me tell you what it is, eh? The Prime Minister of this country, vengeance and Moko Kama, all kind of things. She better be careful she ain't get pulled in front of the International Criminal Court, eh? So PM may have to account to the International Criminal Court, says Brown. I read just a little piece. I read this whole thing. Former Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Amy Brown is warning Prasad Bisesa that she may find herself to having to account to the International Criminal Court, just like former Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte, something so. Speaking at a news conference on Tuesday at the office of the opposition leader, Brown said, I want to make a clear warning to the Prime Minister of this country. I want to refer to this case and it will arise in the future. You see, sometimes heads of government feel they can say and do anything for the support base to clap and cheer, and there will be no consequences in the future. Brown said that the U.S. airstrikes carried out against alleged drug trafficker boats in the Caribbean and the Pacific drew sharp criticism from the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, who warned that they violated international human rights law and must stop immediately. This represents the first time in our records that a Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago would have proudly and publicly associated this nation with violations of international human rights and the UN Charter on international law, he said. You remember when she both killed them violently? These people looking on and watching on and on. Okay. Then I see in The Guardian, government to launch new local campaign. Let me tell you something. Let me play this for you. You see this? Let me play this for you. Listen to this.
Tap right up, folks. Today we're diving into the wild history of snake oil salesmen. It all started with Chinese immigrants who brought real snake oil to America, claiming it cured joint pain, and guess what? It worked. But then sneaky American entrepreneurs saw dollar signs and started selling fake snake oil with zero snake in it. Cue the fraud. Enter the medicine shows. Traveling con men dazzle crowds with entertainment and miraculous cures that cured absolutely nothing. Meet Clark Stanley, the rattlesnake king. He claimed his snake oil cured everything. Spoiler, it didn't. In 1917, the government busted him for fraud. This led to the Pure Food and Drug Act of 1906, paving the way for the FDA to protect us from fake cures and misleading labels. Today, snake oil salesman is slang for any scammy seller making wild promises. Remember, folks, if it sounds too good to be true,
up and see Ivan, the one
is.
direct from the sewers of Moscow. You'll ask yourself, how can he be so huge?
Government to launch new buy local campaign. I wonder if it's a snake oil salesman thing. TNT manufacturing sector contributed an estimated US $10.6 billion in 2025, excluding petroleum and chemical products, a significant increase that underscores its key role as a key pillar in the country's economic diversification strategy. You remember Kanwapisa Cecil and she behaved toward CARICOM. You remember Jamaica and some other Caribbean countries, they are our largest buyer of our local product from the manufacturing sector. Reinforcing this momentum, over 80 reinvestment in non-energy and manufacturing were recorded last year, injecting US $1.25 billion back into the economy and signaling strong confidence in the nation's trajectory. Which trajectory is so strong again? Or they need to revisit that and ask again, is it because some all is Indian and Kamala is Indian and some of the ministers is Indian and UNC the Indian government, or it's just covering up? That if it was a PNM government, all it says African party and the Prime Minister is African man, if all they would have been, and the Prime Minister was Dr. K. Christopher Rowley, if all they would be talking so nice. These figures were spotlighted at the TTMA President Dinner and Award, where the Minister of Trade and Investment and Tourism, Satya Kamra, that is the man from Sasha Cosmetic, I think he should have stayed there and built that because he don't understand the trade and industry in our country is totally different than running a cosmetic company. I ain't reading no more. So they plan to have what? They launch a new buy local campaign. I wonder if it's snake oil. Let me continue. I'm not able. Kamala Prasad Cesar, this racist, drunk prime minister. All I remember, who them people they looking like anything? Them looking like Syrian and thing there? All right. Let me tell you this story. Big thing in diplomatic center. Invite everybody. PM unveiled revitalization plan. Convert Carrera prison to resort for 50,000 jobs. How she stick on this 50,000 jobs? So in 2010, 15 was 50,000 jobs and 50,000 jobs. She come back with 50,000 jobs again. Prime Minister Kamala Prasad is promising 50,919 jobs, but she around 990 now. On the way, as she unveiled the virtuous revitalization blueprint with a wave of infrastructure projects. Some of the projects will include a repurposing of Carrera Islands and Port-au-Prince prison into event halls and resorts. While the Prime Minister declared TNT is open for business and everybody is welcome, our Works Minister Jody John said aside from jobs, the project will make TNT unrecognizable in 5 years. Addressing the launch of the Diplomatic Center, Prasad Cesar called for collaboration amongst international organizations, private sector firms, and the public service as government embarks on major upgrades in Port-au-Prince, San Fernando, Galeota Point, Invaders Bay, and the prison system. In the coming years, you will see cranes piercing the skylines of Port-au-Prince. In San Fernando, you will see dredges carved new horizon along the coast. You will see bulldozers ready to go up Tamina, Golden Grove, and along San Fernando and Miara and Galeota Highway. Mr. Bissessa said. The Prime Minister says citizens had long been calling for jobs, noting the ongoing national recruitment drive, attracting more than 110,000 applicants, which I say was just a data mining. To get all the information, so for coming up for election, they will be calling all them people to tell them vote UNC. That's my opinion. While some applicants apply for multiple positions, she said interviews for public sector jobs will begin next week, with private sector opportunities to follow. How are you going to get them into the public service? So you're going to get rid of service commission? Look, Mary, they no more on this fanciful thing. When Mr. Mann, Prime Minister Mann, was in office, and you cut and call the heart, and there was billing. All your ball, all your fight it down, all you said only billing and vanity projects. Now all you coming and do the same thing. Is it that all you take Mr. Mann in 2020 vision, dust it off, and just tweak it and presenting it like all you want to just ask him? Because you want to mash down everything, all the greenery, everything to put up buildings and skies. Snake oil salesman, or magician, or con woman, con man, con artist. I don't know which one. Trinidad and Tobago. She said that the 1% had the Oreo. They have Rowley in the pocket, whatever. Who is that she's standing up there with? Who is them people? Who is them people? Who she going to get the money from? All you take away and wake up one morning and here is a colony at some country, you know. Take away and wake up and here is a colony of some country, you know. Because where does someone get all that money from? And all them people to invest. Who come in to invest with all them worship and them down here? Who come in? Who come in to invest with a war down here in the Caribbean? Who come in? Look there. Look. Don't all this stop playing up in all that. Look now. Don't make me start up. Hey! Look now. Oh God. All the wicked so by. So listen to this gentleman. Jolly John make a big presentation. How can I say Jolly John only wicked and minister, honorable Jolly John only wicked. Only real wicked. Only real wicked. The same thing Mr. Manu was doing the builders. He built government campus, only never use it. Waterfront only complain and hired, but when only getting 2010 to 15, only was living in hired. But they say vanity project, the man building all over the place. We going to build. We want to build now. You cry down the waterfront project that was happening there under Urban Development Minister at the time, Faris Alwari. Only fight down that, only fight down everything in this country. Only talking about building whatever. Only was a Billy Point Fortune Hotel and look at corruption and that. Only make a company take away and go back with $1 billion. We can only remove a clause just before the day election or something. So in 2015. And PNM government had to fight to get back the money. Only can manage nothing. Only get money from the IDB or ID, whatever, to remodernize WASA. Only get money to do that. Only the time a ganga sing all kind of thing, only do the money. Only fire and send home people, and then them same people come back and get rehired again. Nothing never happened. All want to talk about. Oh, God, let me read this article from Mr. Darren Dinish. It says, yesterday the government unveiled its revitalization blueprint, a master plan boasting 126 mega projects, including new ports, prisons, industrial hubs, and what appears to be towers wrapped in giant, what is this? Scale electric racing track. It is a glossy vision of transformation, part Dubai, part Disneyland, and all the soul of Trump's new White House ballroom. What makes this truly mind-boggling is that we have just come out of a budget 2026, where it is made painfully clear that the government would have to borrow to pay salaries and scrape to cover even the new NIS contribution rates. The obvious question is, where does the government plan on getting the money to turn Debe into Dubai? But here's the thing, that doesn't matter. The Prime Minister plan isn't about economic diversification. It is about optics diversification. Prime Minister Kamala Persad is shrewd enough to know that despite the UNC spin, her recent budget landed with all the excitement of a cold wet doubles. Small and medium-sized businesses are already feeling the heat from a decision to raise commercial electricity rates, rent and NIS contribution. By January, when consumers start realizing that prices are quietly creeping up, even her own base might begin to lose patience. Hence, she needs to make a big pivot, enter the revitalization blueprint. It is about actually building things. It's about looking like you want to build things. Who needs to do the complex hard work of actual progress when he can just stimulate it on Chat GPT, complete with flawless renderings and digital skylines, all designed to ease your mind from the ongoing turmoil of point pieces, the collapse of Royal Manatee and Dragon gas deals, and the increasing scarcity of foreign exchange. In an age where it's becoming difficult to tell the difference between deep fakes and reality, Mrs. Pasabi says has decided it's easier for her to simply govern by AI. Oh God, I have 2 more videos to play, people, and we out of here before 9:30. And only go see why I just called she racist. So listen to this. So remember this.
I've always been a proud black man. This is how Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley chose to respond to statements by opposition leader Kamal Prasad-Bissessar at a political meeting on Thursday evening, in which she allegedly referenced the Prime Minister by using the word black. Crystal Wilson has more in this report.
No, I said blank. Blank. I said blank. I said blanking. I said on the 10th of August, blank him out.
UNC leader Kamala Prasad-Bissessar says she never referred to Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley as a black man. But Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley is not buying it. He says this is just another time the UNC leader has shown her true self. Addressing the issue after filing nomination papers on Friday, he told reporters Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar's statement doesn't surprise him.
Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar has been leading a quiet racial campaign for a very long time, and then she came out openly. There are very many occasions when you in the media would have seen her accusing me of being in the pockets of the 1%. That was an attack on the Syrian community, and then trying to divide us along racial and ethnic lines. And then you would have seen her when that didn't work, she went one step further. She called me an Oreo.
As a matter of fact, Dr. Rowley says he's proud of who he is.
I've always maintained that I'm a proud black man. I mean, I carry myself in a way that black boys and black girls can be proud of what I am and what I represent. My children are proud of me. I'm proud of the life I've led. I have never run away from the color of my skin.
When asked whether the word used by the UNC political leader might have been misunderstood during her Thursday night speech, the Prime Minister said it was interesting that she resorted to those remarks, especially during this particular time.
In the age of what is happening in North America today, in the age of Black Lives Matter, when the world is changing on this issue, it is really instructive that a person of East Indian descent who is black like me would use the term black to disparage me.
The Prime Minister maintains Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar has once again been caught using racist slurs and has referred to her behavior as frequent and disgusting race baiting. Crystal Wilson, TTT News.
And incumbent Laventille West MP Fitzgerald Hines has called on the UNC political leader to promptly withdraw her comment and apologize to the Prime Minister and people of the country. He said he was not surprised by her remark, as she had made similar comments about the Prime Minister previously when she referred to him as an Oreo. Mr. Hines described Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar's remark last night as insulting, denigrating, and divisive.
As leader of the opposition, what she is doing, just as with the Oreo comment and so many other things that she has said and done, is to divide our country, to divide our people, to incite hate, because she was encouraging others to show hate.
He said the UNC leader's comment was not good for Trinidad and Tobago and has left people upset and offended.
She has fallen well below the standard required for leadership of a serious political organization that has held government in this country, well below the standard of a parliamentarian, and certainly below the standard of someone who is aspiring to be the Prime Minister of a Trinidad and Tobago, where everyone must find an equal place and space. And together we should stand, side by side.
Meanwhile, the UNC point-to-pair candidate David Lee said the opposition leader used the word blank in her speech. He said if you listen to the clip, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisasa does not use the other word.
The word that she used was blank, B-L-A-N-K, and not the other word. So it is there. So it is not a slip of the tongue. Her speech had blank in it. So whoever is playing the foolishness, we saw that. And it's, if everyone was to look and listen to the clip itself in its entirety, you would see that the word is blank.
David, we see all the years and we hear all the say. See, when I say that Kamla Prasad is racist, it comes from things like that. I want you all to listen to opposition Senator Sir Dan Paul and listen to what he has to say. He has been on point with the things that he has been saying. He has been in the Ministry of Finance and been a PS and all that for how much, 30-something years. So he's well acquainted with budgets. He has seen many budgets, he has read many budgets, and he understands anything. This was at the PNM's opposition leader conference a couple of days ago, and I want to send special shout out to Tobago, the opposition senator. I can't remember her name. I was to write it down. She was good. She was on fire, and she always is there. She represents Tobago well. The first time I hear she being called and speech, I want to know who she is. I never see she before ever, but she could handle she stories. Big up my sister. Yeah, so I want to listen to Opposition Senator Dan Paul carefully.
I've always been a proud black man.
Thank you very much, Hans, and good morning, everyone. This morning, I just want to go through a bit again on the budget, and I want to stay on message based on debate in the Parliament, and judging from the standing finance committee's debate in the Parliament, it is obvious that what we've been saying all along is that the budget will be derailed by the first quarter of next year. In fact, I'm going better, the first month of the calendar year, new calendar year. And why would the budget be derailed? I mean, it's something that I would not like to see. It has happened before. Budgets have been recalibrated after a month, 2 months, okay, and put back out. We have seen many times where ministries have been asked to cut their budget by 10% and come back to the Ministry of Finance across the board 10%. But the budget is essentially based on some very dubious assumptions and some exceedingly creative accounting. And I'm just going to show you one, and I'm not going to go into the numbers because I want to pitch this again for the ordinary man in the street. And I'm not going to go into the oil prices. You're all aware of the oil prices and the gas prices significantly budgeted higher than projected for next year. But I just want to say this, and to put it in perspective. This country spends $4.5 billion a month on goods and services, transfers, etc., that you can't afford not to spend $4.5 billion. You do a quick mathematics, and that equates to $54 billion a year. You cannot afford not to spend that $54 billion. And I keep saying, and I'm staying on message, that's like transfers and subsidies, old age pensions, public assistance grant, etc., debt service, all the direct charges on the exchequer. You can't afford not to spend on that. So we are locked in at $54 billion a year. The budget has projected revenue, $55 billion. You understand what's the problem there? And with a $20 difference in the projected price of oil and the international projected price of oil, a $20 difference, US dollar difference. So you understand you don't have a lot of margin for error. So what is going to happen starting from this month, which is what we call, November is what we call a dry month at the Ministry of Finance. Starting from this month, the government is going to be cash strapped. The cash flow, they're going to have a cash flow problem starting from November. Okay? And you're going to see it And there's a reason why public servants won't be paid on time, etc., etc. Cash flow issues are going to just continue into the new fiscal year. So one of the reasons why most people would suspect that the government inflated the oil price assumption, and although we're not really an oil province any longer, Stuart Young MP will tell you that we're more a gas province. But however, the price of oil still has a tremendous impact on total revenue. One of the basic assumptions is that the government wants access to the Heritage and Civilization Fund. And to do that, obviously, you inflate the projected price of oil as against what you expect to get from actual. And that triggers the withdrawal rules of the Heritage and Civilization Fund.
Right, you all hear what Opposition Senator Vishnudan Pola said. He has been on the money. And Kamala Pasabi says that they're going to build this and build and they go get investors. Get investors from where? The IMF they're talking about. Listen all the people. People, don't be fooled. Get up and shake all yourself. Let me go down the sea and take a bath and rub them with lime and soap and all kind of thing, because I don't know, like we walking with we eye open and we sleeping. This UNC government is only on deflection. With all them big project and that's not happening. That's not realistic. They can hardly pay public officers when the man come. They can hardly pay recurring expenditure when the man come. It has no money, NIB going to fall apart, all kind of things they tell you, and they tell you, but they're going to look for investors to build building. To build building. Eh? That making sense? When Mr. Patrick Manning, deceased Patrick Manning was building, they talk about vanity project. They talk about he wanting the name thing, whatever, and they studying people and only building. Now they're going to do the same thing. Tell me, chopping us about turning Carrera into some tourist thing and carrying prison up in Tam and all that. Them thing is fraud. Up there is fraud. Oh God, man. Or I really feel people daughters in this country. Not everybody drink the yellow juice. Not everybody take all they get them to rub and eat. People have sense, young people listening, young people understanding, and they're speaking out. And they'll speak out in their way. Come now, man. Hey, listen to MP Stuart Richard Young, Member of Parliament for Port of Spain North Centre and West. And somebody said the name is Miss Rajman, Senator Rajman, but she has some other names too, man. But I was to write it down, you know. But listen to this.
In 5 months, this UNC government has withdrawn $1 billion US. $1 billion US from the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. In 5 months of being in office, they've taken out $400 million US. From our reserve accounts at the central bank, they have taken out $600 million. I was asking two of the leading banks in Trinidad and Tobago last week, did they get an increase in the supply of US dollars in the last 5 months? The unequivocal answer was no. So where has that US $1 billion gone that has now dropped our foreign reserves and our import covers to almost 5 months? And when we go below that, we will end up at the IMF according to the formulas.
We're coming, we're coming, we're coming, we're coming, we're coming. Oh. We're coming, we're coming, we're coming, we're coming, we're coming. Oh.
People, 497. 3 more people, 500. Oh God, I'm gonna make history. I'm gonna take a picture, all kind of thing. 3 more, 497. Come on, 98. Come on, oh God, all them. I beg it today. Let me see the 500 now. People, let me wake up and smell the coffee, the chocolate tea, all kind of reality. This ain't working, no. This ain't working. I want to thank my crew on Facebook, Joanne Munger, Love in the House, Sister Jenny, darling, Ruth Vanelda, Rhonda Alcantara Polymer, greetings to you, darling. Charles Chris, my whole family from Pune. Gloria Lazar, Lydia Lazar Green. Good evening to you, darling. Bolty, Joyce Raymond. Good night to you, darling. Rosalind Norton Geese. Good evening, Jensen Locon. So happy to have you all. Sweet Berries. Vernie Wells, Zelfa Phillip, Melka Rock, Karen Fields Spooner, Robert Lewis, Hazel Thompson, Keith Marshall, Emmeline Harvey, and Shepard, Augusto Cato, and Hazel Frederick, Tessa Graham, and all those who are logged on, those whose name I have not called. Thank you. Oh my God, 500! Let me take a picture quick. Let me take a picture quick. Oh, let me take a picture. Wait. 501. Oh God, all they gonna do me that and drop to 495. Go back to 500, don't make anything now. All they good wicked, you know. All they know have 500, they are going to take the potato, all they drop off. What they do me that for? All they should have never heard Buju. Anyway, let me see all who are still over there. Let me see all who here on thing. Come back now, 5 more people. 5 more people. Let me get the 500. I've moved too slow. I must admit I moved too slow. Say what? You know, I don't really take all numbers and think it'll be fun, but I only watching to see if it come back to 500. I'm looking at this side. 5. No, they're too wicked. Look at people drop now. All they're not nice. All they're not nice, boy. That all they do, man. That all they do, Sister Jen, boy. All they just drop. All they're not right here. So I want to tell, oh gosh, I'm trying to get these thing here. So Althea, Judith, M 37, Patricia. What's going on here? Eric, Mario Guevara, Brenda Smart, Sarah Richard, Patty, Anon 001, Kim, I think I called Kim from on Facebook here. Donna, Brian, Patricia Reed, Patty Cote, Jen, take care. Jen, take care, you bite your tongue. May I bite no damn tongue for them people? Not me. I bite no blasted on them all dirtiness and them. Patty, Patricia Reed, everybody, Robert, everybody, I want to thank you all for listening, locked on, tuning to let me talk the thing unfiltered. Enjoy your weekend. See you all on Tuesday. Gospel coming something for something new. And I want to tell all your treatment nice just now. All you see they come to 500 and as I'm going and take a picture, or they drop off the things like, don't worry, I go back and check it and I hope somebody will take a picture for me to see. I should have tell my friend to take a picture. But anyway, I love all this still. See you all on Tuesday. God's fair coming something for something. Don't let the snake oil salesman and them sell all the no fake. I love all I go on, yes. I go and have a blessed night. We went 9:15. All have a nice time tonight. My God.
Vote for we and we will set you free. Anywhere you turn, somebody chanting to we. Somebody promising jobs for all. Some renting front to make other people ball. But somebody promising more police car. Somebody going to take the country far. Somebody putting all the bandits away. He said if they do the crime, they're going to damn well pay. But somebody promising the human rights, while somebody threatening to put out their lights. The Montreal full with little Trinidad boys. A bullet start to whine and put an end to the joy. Now they're lying call for their mama to mourn. The Nike gone, the gold teeth gone. You see they want their pocket full with blue silk. They want the stock you drinking full cream milk. The little red silk is not their true friend. The blue one have two extra knots on the end. So a tag on the toes, now they take it to hell. But look
A madman rant is my only resolve. I hear the madman talk as he lie on a